In this video, I look back on the incredible life and death of Kenneth Witter, Jamaican businessman and politician. I will look back at his birth, achievements, tragic death, and the court trial that followed. Plus, I take you to the community he grew up in and to his resting place. This video was requested by Mavy Ebanks. I am Nigel D. Salmon. Hit that subscription button. You are watching Jamaican Chapter. Kenneth Witter was born on Monday, July 5, 1948, to parents Marvin Swaby Witter and Mavis Elaine Witter in the community of Ridge, St. Elizabeth. His father, Mervyn Witter, was a cultivator, and his mother, Mavis Witter, was a housewife. The couple got married on December 29, 1943, and eventually had a total of 13 children, 5 sons and 8 daughters. Kenneth and his sisters and brothers grew up and each pursued their own goals in life. Intelligent, ambitious, and with a good education, the young Kenneth Witter entered the insurance industry. He was employed to Crawford Fletcher Insurance Brokers Limited, Jamaica's largest insurance broker at the time. By the year 1985, Kenneth Witter was an executive director in the company. By age 32, Kenneth had 3 children, Camille, Sean, and Kenneth Jr., and had married his lover, Sylvia. Kenneth Witter did not limit himself to insurance brokerage. He had a variety of income sources. He was a farmer. He had his own farm. He possessed political ambitions. He joined the People's National Party, PNP. A hard worker in this political party, he was soon appointed spokesman on Community Enterprise Organization, chairman of the PNP's Finance and Fundraising Commission in 1981, member of the PNP's Founders Day Committee, and he was assigned the position of constituency representative for Southeast St. Catherine in 1984. Kenneth Witter's creativity, forward thinking, and commitment greatly impressed the then PNP president, Michael Manley, and other top members of the political party. He was rapidly treated as an indispensable party member with obvious leadership qualities. Kenneth Witter was widely known, loved, and respected, not just in St. Catherine, where he resided with his family, but also back in St. Elizabeth, the parish of his birth. In fact, his contributions are considerable and unforgettable. In and around the communities of Ridge and Junction, His involvement in community development led to the establishment of the Maranatha School for the Deaf, the Junction Trade Center, Southeast St. Elizabeth Medical Center, and Ridge Basic School, later renamed Kenneth Witter Basic School. Kenneth Witter's life was filled with achievements. He was a landowner, husband and father with a stable family. He was gainfully employed to the island's largest insurance brokerage company, and he was an active constituency representative in one of the two major political parties in Jamaica. At just age 37, he was an exceptional achiever. And with his ambition, he had a lot more contributions to make to his country when tragedy struck. On the night of Sunday, November 10, 1985, some minutes after 10 p.m., the Witter family decided it was time to go to bed. The family lived on Tara Crescent, Portmore, St. Catherine. Kenneth Witter and his wife went to bed in their bedroom. The elder son, Sean, went to bed in his room, while the younger son, Kenneth Jr., went to his own bedroom. The family was sound asleep in the 2:30 a.m. hours of the morning of Monday, November 11, when three men quietly approached the house and broke in. The men made their way to the bedroom of the parents, the bedroom of Kenneth Witter and his wife Sylvia. Both were sleeping and were awakened by the men standing at their bedside. Kenneth Witter, clothed only in his underwear, could not move because one of the men was pointing a gun at him. Sylvia Witter watched in fear as the men tied her husband's two hands behind him and tied his feet together. The three men then demanded money. Kenneth Witter told them that he had no money in the house. The one with the gun butted him, meaning he hit Mr. Witter in the head with the bottom of the gun. When asked again where the money was, Mr. Witter said he had none in the house. He was then gun-butted a second time. When he gave the same answer a third time, he was gun-butted again a third time. Finding the gun-butting unbearable, Mr. Witter told the men to take the jewelry and other valuables they want from the house. The men began to search the house, but not before tying the hands of Mrs. Witter behind her using brassiers and a necktie. One of them ripped the telephone from its connection. The men believed that the Witter family was storing a large amount of money in the house. And with this strong belief, they were determined to get it. The men, all in their 20s and of little reasoning ability, decided to increase the intimidation. They brought the two sons, Sean and Kenneth Jr., from their rooms into the parents' bedroom, where they tied their hands and feet and put them on the bed beside their parents. The robbers threatened to shoot the boys if Mr. and Mrs. Witter did not reveal the whereabouts of the money. 80-year-old Kenneth Jr., wanting to calm the situation, told the robbers to take the savings in his piggy bank. His offer was not accepted. The threat to shoot the children was not working, so the men decided to take things to a vicious level. One of them took up an electric clothes iron, plugged out a bedside lamp, and plugged in the iron, then allowed the iron to heat up. He then used the iron to burn Mr. Witter over his back. The sound that Mr. Witter began to make caused one of the robbers to tie a clothes around his mouth. The robber with the red-hot iron attempted to burn Mr. Witter in the face with it. In his own defense, Mr. Witter lifted up his tied feet and kicked out at the robber with the iron, knocking him against the wall, causing the iron to unplug and drop. Mr. Witter began shuffling to escape and fell off the bed. The robber who was holding the hot iron recovered his balance, pulled a gun from his waist, and shot Mr. Witter in the left side of his belly. The bullet did severe damages to internal organs and was fatal. The 37-year-old Kenneth Witter died on the spot. The robbers and now killers quickly made their way from the house, carrying with them a color television set and a box of jewelry worth thousands of dollars. The news of Kenneth Witter's death created reactions of shock and disbelief. Michael Manley, president of the People's National Party, had to express his shock openly to the country. Michael Manley said about Kenneth Witter, he said, "He was young and dynamic and a hard worker at the constituency level, where he had organized and led a team of dedicated colleagues to support him and the party, not merely to win the next elections, but to provide leadership to Jamaica as the government of the country." Public expression of shock also came from the then police commissioner, Herman Ricketts, Minister of National Security, Winston Spalding, and then JLP Member of Parliament for South East St. Catherine, Kingsley Songster. Prime Minister Edward Seaga expressed his shock at the senseless killing. The Prime Minister sent a letter of condolence to Mrs. Sylvia Witter. There was also reaction from the Jamaica Insurance Advisory Council expressing sympathy for the family of Mr. Witter, an insurance broker. Crawford Fletcher Insurance Brokers Limited, to which Kenneth Witter was employed, closed their offices early on Friday, November 15, 1985, 4 days after the murder, in show of grief and respect to the late employee. They opened offices the next week. With direct influences from the Minister of National Security and the Police Commissioner, the murder investigation was strong. The murder happened on November 11, 1985, and by mid-December of the same year, 3 men were charged for the crime. Names of the 3 men charged are Sean Taylor, also called Robin, a 20-year-old laborer from Majesty Gardens, Kingston 11. His fingerprint was found on a telephone receiver at the crime scene. On November 26, 1985, he was positively pointed out by Kenneth Witter Jr. in a police identification parade. Noel Phillips, also called Pops, a 21-year-old laborer from Majesty Gardens, Kingston 11. His fingerprint was found on a chocolate tin from an open drawer of a dresser in Mr. and Mrs. Witter's bedroom, the crime scene. On November 26, 1985, the day of the police identification parade, he was positively pointed out by Kenneth Witter's widow, Sylvia Witter. Philip Leslie, also called Leslie Phillip, a 22-year-old laborer of Majesty Gardens, Kingston 11. He was positively pointed out by both Sean and Kenneth Jr. in the police identification held on November 26, 1985. Philip Leslie's fingerprint was found on the electric iron used to burn Kenneth Witter. Philip Leslie was the one who gun-butted Kenneth Witter, burned him with the iron, and shot him with the gun. All the 3 accused men were friends from the poor community of Majesty Gardens, St. Andrew, Kingston 11. The 3 of them were charged with murder and robbery with aggravation. On Monday, December 16, 1985, they were taken to the gun court. A preliminary inquiry was then set for January 1986. But the preliminary inquiry never started until February due to delays caused by 2 of the accused not yet secured attorneys to represent them. The preliminary inquiry ended with the judge's decision that there were sufficient evidence to go to trial. The murder trial began on Monday, February 2, 1987, before Justice Malcolm and a jury of 6 men and 6 women in the Home Circuit Court. The prosecution was led by Mr. Glenn Andrade, QC, Senior Director of Public Prosecutions, and Mrs. Joan Joyner, Crown Counsel. It was a 10-day trial. At the end of the trial, the jurors deliberated for 40 minutes before they returned the verdict of guilty. Guilty of murder and robbery with aggravation. On the same day, Friday, February 13, 1987, Mr. Justice Malcolm sentenced the 3 convicted men to death. Death by hanging. The 3 condemned men appealed against their convictions and death sentences. In July of 1988, the Court of Appeal dismissed their applications, thus upholding the decision made in the Home Circuit Court. With their appeals rejected, The death sentences remained in place, and this meant that the three men were to be hanged. But luck was on their sides. The Jamaican government stopped hanging prisoners that same year, 1988. So the death sentences for the three men were converted to life in prison. The funeral for the late Kenneth Witter was held on Saturday, November 16, 1985, at St. Andrew Parish Church. Many were in attendance, including Michael Manley, president of the People's National Party, other politicians from both the PNP and JLP, family, relatives, and friends. Following the funeral service, the body was taken to the community of Ridge in St. Elizabeth for burial. I am in the community of Ridge here in St. Elizabeth, and right in front of me, you'll have the Kenneth B. Witter Memorial Early Childhood Institution. And I'm saying it with a longer name because when I come here and I read it, it says Kenneth B. Witter Memorial Early Childhood Institution. So the school, of course, is named in his memory. But what I get to understand is that the school has been closed for some time now. Here you have a sign on the front here. It says Chase, and then it says Kenneth Witter Basic School. Renovation and expansion by the Chase Fund 2009. So renovation took place here and expansion took place here um, by the Chase Fund in 2009. And since then, for some reason or the other, the school is not in operation. This is one of Kenneth Witter's contribution to community development, and it holds his name. Here on here it says Kenneth Witter Basic School, and on the school down there it says Kenneth Witter Memorial Early Childhood Institution. In any case, in one simple word, it's a basic school. Currently not in operation, and hopefully it will be back into operation. So this is a Kenneth Witter Basic School here in Ridge, St. Elizabeth. Now let's head to his resting place. I am getting close to the resting place of Kenneth Witter. I believe I am in a different part of the community of Ridge. Uh, don't know, but this sign says Friends Ridge United. But I know I'm in a different section of the community. And I stopped here because someone was giving me information, and they said the community center. And this you're looking at was inspired or started by Kenneth Witter. So it was a community center. You can see here they have where you could throw the ball, a little developed section here. So they could play ball here, netball, basketball. Aren't they the same thing? I don't know. All right. All right. So Kenneth Witter, he played a role in the introduction of this. It looks abandoned now. It looks abandoned. So it was a community center. Um, Over on the other side here, see even the fence had broken down. Then over down there, you can see restroom and thing. The community center. So you can see Mr. Witter was really a forward thinking man, somebody who was always looking, on ways to develop his community. And sadly, you can see after his death, some of the things that he had started have been abandoned. I believe if he was still around, and yes, he could still be around. He was only 37 in 1985. It is now 2025. So it is 40 years later. 40 and 37, that would give you what, 77? Yeah. So he would be 77 still, and I believe he would still be very active, you know. So I'm going up now to his childhood home and the family plot where he was laid to rest. Up here is quiet, quiet. It's Tuesday. So right now, many children are gone to school. Many individuals are gone to work, whatever the work is. So I'm standing now in front Kenneth Witter's childhood home. Sorry guys, I can't zoom on this new equipment I'm using. I love it because it gives me stability in the videos, no shaking videos, but it can't zoom. But so I have to get closer. So here is where Kenneth Witter was born in 1948. He and all his other siblings, 8 sisters, 5 and 4 brothers. He cannot make the 13. He wasn't the last one, of course. So I'm entering this property, and let me see this sign if it says a no trespassing, because I don't want to break a no trespass sign. Let me see what this says. Oh yes, no trespassing. Oh boy, but I have to do this. So this is the house that he grew up in, his childhood home here in Ridge. It's no one lives here. No one lives here now. You can see it's abandoned. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. But there was a time when there were a lot of children here. A lot of children, and you have his the father and the mother. This house was alive. Many activities. There's a bulb still on. So that means that, electricity is still connected to this property. I don't know, maybe somebody is squatting here. Man, and then you have the tank over here. Not getting close to an old tank. That's a tank, old tank there. Man, and then you have a big robin tree here. There's mango on it right now, ripe mangoes. And see ripe mangoes on this tree. It's a big robin tree. You can know it was here for a long time. A robin falling on the ground. This one just fell. Fresh on everything, looking good. Maybe this bench made out of a big thing here. Must been here for a long time. So this house was alive at one point. 13 children, mother. The father was a cultivator. Mom was a housewife. And now everybody grew up. Everybody gone. You know? And the house is now a shadow of what it used to be. Then right in front of the house, you have the family plot. It's all grilled around. All grilled around. All right. So I'm gonna go inside and let's read and find out who should I say are or were, who are the family members buried here. So this first grave here, it says in memory of Mervyn A. Witter, born the 12th December 1912, died the 8th November 1963, age 51. So this is the father. This is Kenneth Witter's father, Mervyn A. Witter. He was born December 12, 1912, and he died November 18, 1963, and he was just 51. 51 years old when he died. So the father died first and was buried here. Then next to Mervyn Witter, we have Mavis Witter. It says, in loving memory of Mavis E. Witter, born the 15th September 1918, died the 14th December 1985, age 67. So this is the mother. So you have the husband, then you have the wife, Mavis Witter. Mavis outlived Kenneth Witter because, as you can see, she died December 14, 1985. So this is the resting place of Kenneth Witter, mother, Mavis Witter, born September 15, 1918, died December 14, 1985, at age 67. So she lived for some months after the death of Kenneth. So now let's go now to the grave of the man himself, the subject of this story, Kenneth Witter. And this is his grave we are looking at. And it says, in loving memory of Kenneth B. Witter, born 5th July 1948, died 11th November 1985. And they say, caring and sharing. Your life was unselfish for others you loved. So they say, your life was unselfish for others you loved. So this is the resting place of Kenneth B. Witter. So much he had to do. He had so much to do when criminals ended his life. And there is another grave here. And this is the tomb of Kenneth Witter's brother, Wilbert Alidis Witter. So it says, beloved Wilbert Alidis Witter, sunrise the 17th of the 12th, 1955. So he was younger than Kenneth. He was born the 17th of December 1955, and he died the 14th of the 12th, 2010. So that's the 14th of December 2010. So Wilbert was born in December and he died in December. And it's the same thing for Kenneth over there. Kenneth was born on a Monday and he died on a Monday. Not the same month though. So we have here Wilbert, a brother. We have Kenneth. Then we have Mavis, his mom. And over here we have his father, Mervyn. So the three of them, the four of them that is, were buried here. They are buried here. And out of all of them, Kenneth is the one that died tragically because he was shot dead. The resting place here of Kenneth Witter. Again, this video was requested by one of my viewers, and I said, okay, it's St. Elizabeth, so let me just do it. And I'm happy to have done this video. So that's the resting place of the man Kenneth, his mom and his brother Wilbert, and his father, of course. All of them buried there. And the house that he grew up in, all abandoned now, a house that I said that was filled with life. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And I see you again in another interesting video like this.